The evidence-based practice I chose to highlight is activating prior knowledge. This is a vital tool in the quest for literacy for our students. Quote, put simply, the more you know about a topic, the easier it is to read a text, understand it, and retain the information. End quote. Newman, page 145. Background knowledge can differ greatly by socioeconomic status. Children from families that face financial challenges are less likely to go to museums, go on family vacations, or even be able to make it to the town public library. These experiences greatly enhance a child's background knowledge. Quote, an individual's background knowledge develops through interaction with people, places, experiences, internet sources, texts, and content formally taught, end quote. Fisher, page 23. Quote, students who can activate and apply whatever background and prior knowledge they have regarding a topic are more likely to understand a passage than those who cannot, end quote. Bryant, page 439. Previewing the text is a helpful strategy. Please click the link below to see an example. Quote, building necessary background knowledge to support comprehension is a complex endeavor for teachers and for students, end quote. Barone, page 17. How do we activate background knowledge in the elementary library? Depending on the topic you are about to discuss, you'll want to come up with a few questions to get everyone's brains going on your subject. This is activating background knowledge. It is also beneficial for all students, not just students with special education needs. It is a universal design for learning practice. The first step for me when choosing books to share with the class is to choose a nonfiction book as well as a fiction book to share with the kids. For example, I used a nonfiction book called From Tadpole to Frog with a second grade class about how a frog grows. This book is an early reader and contains a glossary in the back to help with vocabulary. First, I always ask the class if they think the book is fiction or nonfiction, and how can they tell. Then I ask the kids questions like, raise your hand if you know how a frog grows. Are they born like you and me? What do they like to eat? Are frogs reptiles like alligators, mammals like us, or amphibians like salamanders? What are some characteristics of amphibians? So before we begin to read the book, the kids are thinking about frogs and things they know about them. They come up with information they learned from having tadpoles in their classroom, as well as from being outdoors playing. You can certainly learn a lot about a frog from playing with them. Next, I move on to a fun fiction picture book called The Frog Principle by Stephanie Kalmanson. This is a fun book about a principal who gets accidentally turned into a frog by a magician. I asked the students, so compared to From Tadpole to Frog, do you think this book is fiction or nonfiction? What are your clues? Then we talk about the role of a principal. Who is our principal? What does a principal do? Then we read the book. After both books have been read, we discuss the differences between the books. My favorite part is when a student can relate one of the new books we have read back to a book we have read earlier in the year. The best part is when I hear something like, oh yeah, remember that book you read us about the tree frogs before? And then half the class is asking me to find them frog books to check out for the week. Quote, having students become aware of the important details that contribute to or extend understanding of a narrative is critical for comprehension and learning, end quote. Barone, page 23. By activating prior knowledge in the library setting, this helps kids before they go on to read independently. Thank you for watching my presentation on activating prior knowledge.